Hey everyone, I hope you're well. It's JD here, and I hope you're all ready to wrap up 2024 as we head into 2025. But before we do, I wanted to release this very quick video on a new capability that was released in the latest version of BICEP around the deployer function. Now, if you've not heard about this new capability, in a nutshell, the deployer function allows you to obtain information around the principal or user that is carrying out the deployment of your infrastructure through BICEP and use that information to be referenced as part of your infrastructure as code modules or resources. What does that mean exactly? Well, that means that I can dynamically obtain information such as the object ID of the principal that is carrying out the deployment to assign permissions to a key vault, for example. So I could obtain the object ID dynamically of my service principal that is doing the deployment, and I could use that to grant that the key vault secrets administrator role in order so that it could write key vault secrets. So without no further ado, I'm going to show you a very quick demo on how you can use this as part of your infrastructure as code deployment. Let's get into it. Before we run any of the BICEP or that we've configured here to deploy the resources that we want, first thing we're going to do is just make sure that we're running the latest version of BICEP that's available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a AZ BICEP upgrade. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got the latest version. And I can see I'm running on 0.32.4. So just make sure that you're running on this particular version before starting this activity. So what I've got here is my basic BICEP template, which is leveraging Azure Verified Modules that is going to be used to create my resource group and a key vault within inside that resource group. So there's nothing fancy happening on here. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is simply just deploy that. So if I run that now, that should go ahead and deploy my resource group and my key vault. So now that that's completed, if I navigate over to Azure, we can see that we've now got our RG deployer UKS dev 001 resource group and our key vault inside. Now, if we navigate over to our access control IAM, and if we look at the role assignments, we can see that we've only got the owner, the management group contributor, the management group reader, and the user access administrator roles assigned to this resource. And I mean, they're not even assigned at this scope. So there's no key vault administrator role or any role around key vault that has been applied. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I should say, is if I go to role assignments, what I'm going to do is leveraging Azure Verified Modules. I'm going to create a simple role assignment, and I'm going to use the deployer function here to get the object ID of myself, so the user that's running the deployment, and give myself the key vault administrator role. So this means now that if I need to deploy secrets into this key vault, I can give myself the permissions to be able to do that dynamically just using this deployer function here. I don't need to go into Entra or start asking people for access into Entra to go and get my object ID. So if I run this now, I've made my changes. That's going to go ahead and run. Brilliant. That has succeeded. So now if I refresh my role assignments, we can see now that the key vault administrator role has been applied to myself. So that shows you how easy it is to obtain the information about the context of the person who is running that deployment. Or if you're doing this through CI/CD, you could use this to obtain the object ID and tenant ID of the service principal or the managed identity that's doing the deployment. But there we have it. That is how you can leverage the deployer function to get the information about the user running the deployment. As I mentioned, this was a very quick video I wanted to get in before we wrapped up 2024. I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I look forward to releasing more content in 2025. Thanks, everyone.